Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone is having a fantastic Friday so far. Remember the day for once. Let's see what we have here in the chat. We have Pete, Chip, Caleb, as well as Cruz, and everyone else who's watching who may not be chatting. Or if you're just now tuning in on, I may have forgotten to welcome you. Welcome to another stream. Like I said, hopefully everyone's having a great Friday so far. Finally Friday. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the risk for a couple of tropical storms across the Eastern Pacific, as well as one that is active across the Western Pacific. We'll talk about that one. Most specifically, we're going to talk about the Western Pacific, as well as the Caribbean, and then both of our areas to watch in the main development region. We have one AOI and, of course, our tropical storm. So let's go ahead and dive right on into this. Welcome, Winding Road and Double. Switch over to our main scene. We are good to go. So yeah, a lot of stuff to keep an eye on. We have 3 AOIs here. One out here. This is, I believe, leftover Mario, if I'm not mistaken. Mario, it formed, then died out, and it's attempting to reform. And then we have what will likely end up being a tropical storm sometime in about the next 7 days. And then even after that, there's a third system we'll have to watch out here in the Eastern Pacific. There's a huge typhoon starting to really wind up a tropical storm, soon to be typhoon, out here well east of the Philippines. That's going to head between the Philippines and Taiwan. Probably going to be a borderline, if not a super typhoon. Currently forecasted to be a violent typhoon. We, of course, have, let's see, Gabrielle, I believe is how you pronounce that. Gabrielle, I believe is how you pronounce that. Gabrielle is moving off to the northwest here. It is currently a tropical storm, expected to be a Category 1 and then even a Category 2 hurricane. This is the new advisory. I didn't see this advisory. It looks like it's the same. It really looks like it's the same. Maybe a Category 2 hurricane slightly quicker. But they do have the max wind speeds up to 105 miles per hour by the time we get into, I believe this is Sunday. This is either, let's see. No, this is Sunday. This is Monday. 22nd should be Monday afternoon. That is the most likely time frame for this to run towards a upper tier Cat 2. So if it does become a major hurricane at any point, it would be Monday into Tuesday. But right now, it's looking a lot more healthy. Yesterday, it was starting to get really healthy, and then today, it's really become a lot more well-organized. Day before yesterday, it pretty much looked like an extra tropical storm, so way more healthy now than what it once was. Let's see, this should be the correct, there we go. This is the correct one I was looking for. So right now, some of the convection is east of the center. The center is like right in here at the moment, maybe slightly off to the southeast of that low pressure icon I put there. So a lot of your convection is lopsided to the southeast, and that's leaving the entire west portion of the system very open to some westerly wind shear and dry air. So that will probably keep this from becoming a hurricane tomorrow, but we'll likely see this turn into a Category 1 hurricane sometime Saturday, or rather sometime Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. This will likely be a Category 1 hurricane. And then, like I said, Monday into Tuesday, it will make a run for high in Cat 2, low in Category 3 status east of Bermuda, thank goodness. So not going to be much of an issue for Bermuda in the wake of direct impacts, but probably some surfs and some high waves will be possible there, especially going up Monday into Tuesday. This is a area of interest we're really keeping a very, very, very close eye on here. Currently a very broad, disorganized area of convection located just to the south of Cape Verde, off the coastline of Africa, moving to the north-northwest, pretty slowly off to the north-northwest here. And this could end up being an issue. We're watching this down the line for areas like the Bahamas to be at risk for the potential of a tropical storm. Few of our models have shown that developing. So if you're in the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, I already said Puerto Rico, Bahamas, Bermuda, you want to keep an eye on this system because it's probably going to be heading that way. Where it goes from right here, that's when all your uncertainty starts. Some take it out to sea right away. Others bring it a little bit closer to the Bahamas. So we want to keep a very close eye on this system. It's formed far south. It is formed pretty far south. It's generally right a little bit more west of that, or rather east, right about there. That's where your center low pressure is located. Very disorganized low, not enough to be named an invest, or rather designated an invest. My goodness, not enough to be designated an invest there. So we want to keep a very close eye on that as it moves off to the north-northwest. And like I said, this will likely end up becoming a tropical storm out here off the coastline of southern Mexico. This should end up dying out. And then, like I said, we'll probably see another AOI behind this sometime towards about 5 days from now. That will likely develop into a tropical storm, unless that's it. Hold on, y'all. I might have got my systems confused here. This 70% AOI might be the one I'm talking about. Let's see. See if that develops towards the 23rd. Let's see. It's so late in September, y'all. It's already September 19th. It's already September 19th. Like, hello? Yes, it is this one. Okay, so it's only one tropical storm that I'm anticipating to form, and it's actually from this AOI here that you see on the screen. I think this is just going to die out. I don't think that's going to form. So I think this will become a tropical storm, and there's really not anything behind that. It's really not anything behind that. So we want to keep an eye on that to see if it does end up forming into a tropical storm, which I'm pretty confident it will form into a tropical storm. Some models say a hurricane, but that's a little bit too aggressive at the moment. We'll wait till it becomes at least a depression before we start talking about a hurricane out of that system. I don't like to jump the gun too much with these storms. Did it once this year, and that system ended up being a complete flop. Trended too far south and then got choked off by dry air. All right, let's go to just one more thing real quick on Radar Omega. That's severe weather. We do have a marginal risk for severe storms today. It has definitely been quite the overperformance. We've had quite the couple instances of 1 to 1.75 inch hail out of some of these storms moving off to the southeast. So a little bit of an overperforming risk there out of these quite strong to severe thunderstorms. Outside of that, not really much more across the country, just some very, very isolated 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. Tomorrow, nothing. Day 3, nothing. Day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, nothing. So really not anticipating any type of severe weather over the next couple of days. Really, the next week is going to be inactive for severe weather. Now, we are keeping an eye on I am keeping an eye on day 3, so Friday, Saturday, that would be Sunday. Sunday, I do want to keep an eye on in Missouri and Iowa for some sneaky severe storms. That would be right in here. So keep an eye in this area going into Sunday. We'll probably see a marginal risk introduced in that region. Likely going to see the chance for some strong thunderstorms, maybe a couple severe storms. And outside of that, there's really not much I'm interested in for severe weather. I think Sunday we'll keep an eye on. And then Tuesday, Wednesday could have some isolated severe storms in the southern US, but a lot of this just looks very disorganized. None of it I don't expect to be anything too over the top. Let's see. What about Thursday? Yeah, there's this big trough moving into the US. Let me go ahead and show y'all a model run really quick. All right, this is going to be the GFS 500 millibar model run here. So if we pull this on out, so this is day 1, not much. Day 2, not much. Day 3, not much. Day 3, again, we have this little tiny shortwave right in here that we want to keep an eye on. Really not very organized shortwave, very, very messy, sloppy belt of flow, but it could get a couple strong to severe storms going. And then day 4, I do want to keep an eye on this now that I look at the European model run as well. That is also in a bit better alignment. But we do want to just keep an eye on the chance for some severe storms going into the central U.S. and then the southern U.S. all the way from Monday, all the way from Monday to about Thursday. There should be the chance for a couple of isolated severe storms in the central and southern U.S. And then Thursday, Friday, that will move into the Tennessee Valley. But none of that really looks organized. I'm not really concerned about any of that. Just very isolated severe weather. None of it looks notable for the in terms of a tornado threat. Main ordeal will be 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, 1-inch hail. Nothing really more substantial than that. But we do want to keep an eye on it just in case it uptrends. So keep an eye on that just in case. And then also watching towards Monday, next Monday, not this upcoming Monday, next Monday, about 10 or so days out. There's a chance for a trough ejection to enter the U.S., and if that does actually occur, we'll have a really good chance for severe weather, but right now that's too far out, so I'm not going to show you anything about that, but just know, watching the last few days of September for a better chance of severe weather, and then watching Monday through Friday for the chance of severe storms in generally this vicinity here from west to east. So if you're in Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Monday, Tuesday, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Virginia, NC, Kentucky, West Virginia, Thursday, Friday. Alrighty. So now with that out of the way, again, not expecting it to be notable, just isolated 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and 1-inch hail. I'll let y'all know if it ends up being any more notable than that. We'll probably end up doing a stream tomorrow night. Yeah, probably going to end up trying to do a stream tomorrow, unless I do a video, but maybe a stream tomorrow and Sunday, because I really want to track our typhoon out here, soon to be typhoon. I'm really surprised it's not a typhoon. That's why I keep calling it a typhoon. I'm surprised it's still a tropical storm. Let's go over to, let's see here. I'm going to pull this up really quick. There we go. Perfect. This is the JTWC forecast for Regassa. I forgot how to pronounce that. I think it is Regassa. I've heard 2 different pronunciations for it. And it's currently a tropical storm. 55 knots. This really should be... This is borderline typhoon status at this point. High-end tropical storm, low-end typhoon status. And it is forecasted to move off to the northwest. And then right here, it is forecasted to become a violent typhoon. That's what the JTWC calls their major typhoons. They call them violent typhoons. So it's forecasted to become a violent typhoon in between, very close to, definitely much closer to the Philippines than Taiwan there. But yeah, that will be Sunday Sunday afternoon, it will be on approach. This is Sunday afternoon right here. It will be on approach to the northern Philippines, and then Sunday night into Monday morning, that's when it's going to be passing just north, and the closest it will be to the northern Philippines. So I really want to talk about that typhoon. That's what we'll likely end up doing a live stream for on Sunday. Sunday afternoon, I will likely be live. Now, I won't be live. Let's see, when is... Gotta go look at my NASCAR schedule. Let's see. Yeah, so I know that's tomorrow. So I will probably be live same time. I think 6 o'clock would do just fine. Yeah, probably 6 to 7 o'clock. I'll be live Sunday, Sunday evening, 6, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Tomorrow is a little bit more skeptical than that. All right, let's go ahead and dive on into some ensemble data. I don't want to just yap on about my schedule and waste an entire live stream. Let's go over to our ensembles here. There we go. All right, so this is your European ensembles. We're going to go 240 hours out. So there's Gabrielle, you see right here. This is Gabrielle moving off to the northwest. Again, going to become a Category 1 hurricane right in here, then Category 2 right in here, and then its best chance for a Category 3 is in between this mark here and this mark here. That's its best chance for Category 3 status, which will, again, will be Monday night into Tuesday. And then you can see our other AOI just barely to off your screen right over here. That's your other area of interest. It's currently right over here, moving to the west. It's going to move to the northwest. And then the euro is very conservative here with how it moves off to the northwest, but you can see a couple members do eventually develop it going closer to Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, but really it's not that aggressive. And then there's another area to watch off your screen a little bit on to the west side there. I can try to zoom in a bit better. That should help. Yeah, another area to watch out here in the Caribbean, but really the ensembles that I've been using here the most, this is the Google ensembles. This is the Google ensembles here, and I want to show you what they have in the, not that one, in the Atlantic. So very aggressive, very aggressive with our first AOI. Our AOI way over here, the Google ensembles want it to develop as it gets in northeast of the Lesser Antilles and then become a tropical storm very close to, like I was saying earlier, close to the Bahamas and north of the Lesser Antilles, and then probably going up towards Bermuda. So I am going to keep an eye on this. Even though the European ensembles are not that aggressive, it's still something I want to watch very closely, because other ensembles and deterministic models, we'll get into that, deterministic models a little bit later, do indeed develop it into a tropical storm close to the Lesser Antilles and close to the Bahamas, and then eventually going up towards Bermuda. Flash warning, real quick, flash warning. I want to pull this on out further and zoom into the Caribbean and the Gulf. And you'll see a very aggressive signal here by the Google ensembles here. A very aggressive signal for the potential of a tropical storm and many of these major hurricane signals here in the southeastern Gulf and the northwestern Caribbean. And this is 10 days out. So that is very far out. And only a handful of other ensembles have picked up on it. One or two ensembles on the Euro ensemble. We'll look at GFS in a bit, but I don't think the GFS has picked up on it at all. So this will be a very good test for our AI ensembles, because the Google, I believe Google, man, what is it called? Let me go to my Twitter real quick, because I made a post about it. It is the Google DeepMind AI ensembles, are based a lot on, they got a lot of climatology behind them. So they're very they're very, they should be very, very good. And it will be a big test to see how AI ensembles may handle in the future, to see if it is one of the first things to get a signal on our small area to keep an eye on. It's not an area to watch by the NHC and AOI yet, area of interest not yet by the NHC. But it's the only thing that really shows it. If we go to the GFS ensembles, the GFS ensembles are just all over the place. There's really no organized area to keep an eye on. And then if we go to here, this is another Google ensemble, kind of off-brand, if you will. I'm pretty sure it's still part of the Google ensembles here. And that does have a little bit of a signal too in the Northwestern Caribbean. So it's both of our newest ensembles, especially that first AI, the Google Deep, what was it? I already forgot what it was. What is it? I got to go back to it. It just got added, so I've already forgotten it. DeepMind. I'm going to keep that up so that way I can memorize it. So yeah, your AI Google DeepMind ensembles are really the ones that signal it the best here. This is taking a look at your GFS ensembles here. We're going to go back to the Northern Atlantic, and you can see, okay, so the Google ensembles, my goodness, now I'm saying Google instead of GFS. Look at me. Gracious day, we're getting too many runs for me to keep up with. Oh man, we're gonna go back to the 06Z so we can go out. So this is the GFS ensembles from very, very early this morning. And you can see Gabrielle right there. Gabrielle right there going off to the northwest. And very much a better signal on here than what the European ensembles have for our second area of interest here. Most of these are tropical depression, if not weaker. Only a handful of them are tropical storm status. And let's see if any of those do manage to get closer to the Lesser Antilles. Only really one brings it close to the Lesser Antilles and close to the Dominican Republic. So most of those are very much out to sea. A lot of those are angled further off to the northeast like this. A lot of them are angled further off to the northeast. So again, Google Deep Space model run here. Very aggressive signal for our area of interest. Currently the AOI is out here with the low pressure, very disorganized low pressure southeast of Cape Verde, moving off to the northwest. And these ensembles very aggressive, very, very aggressive with how it forms rapidly, moves up into the northern portion of the Caribbean, into the Bahamas, and even back up into Bermuda as well. And then again, that other signal starting right there in the northwestern Caribbean for another area to watch. So overall, we're just going to need to keep a very close eye on the ensembles and the deterministic runs. Speaking of deterministic runs, let's go right on over to our deterministic runs on tropical tidbits here. And let's take a look at the GFS 700 millibar vorticity on, oops. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. All those need to go. Welcome, Lucy, to the stream. Let's go over here. There we go. Much better. Any severe weather or rain for me? Let's see. I do think you will have a chance for some isolated severe storms and some rain. Maybe Tuesday? Let me check here. Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday, you have a pretty good chance for some rain and isolated severe storms. Doesn't look like the best chance for severe storms at the moment, but definitely some rain. Definitely going to see some rain Tuesday and Wednesday. Probably not enough to cause any flash flooding. All right, but this is the GFS 700 millibar vorticity. You could see Gabrielle there moving off to the northwest. And if we pull this out, you should see there's our second area of interest. That's a little bit too early. That's not it. That's actually a different area. Whoa, hold on a second. Yeah, that's a random area. Very random area right there that the GFS just kind of spins up near the Bermuda High. There's your main area of interest right there. So that's the area of interest that the NHC has marked. If we just follow that back, you can see, follow that back, it goes back to where it's currently located, southeast to Cape Verde. Pull it out, you can see that random little spin there, northeast of the Lesser Antilles, does nothing. Then our second area of interest comes in, and it does attempt to organize on the GFS. And matter of fact, we even get a brief tropical storm out of both of these little vorticity blobs here on the GFS. So we have 3 vorticity blobs on the GFS. I don't know why there's 3. I really don't think there should be anything but just 1. So it has a random one here off the Bermuda High, one over here in the Lesser Antilles, and then our main area of interest that the NHC has designated right now, Gabrielle moving way off to the northeast right there. And if we pull that out, you can also see the likelihood of a tropical storm in the EPAC. You can see both of our areas here. So the one that forms near the Bermuda High dies out, goes out to sea, does nothing. But the one that forms near the Lesser Antilles and the one we're currently tracking near Cape Verde both become a tropical storm in about 10 days from now, which is very far out. This run's going to change literally tonight. Both of them develop into a tropical storm and then move on out to sea. And you'll notice here, right there, that is what our Google AI ensembles are picking up with. Our Google AI ensembles are making this vorticity blob a tropical storm to a hurricane as it gets into the Northwest Caribbean and into the Gulf. So the GFS acknowledges a vorticity blob 9 days, 9 days, 8-9 days out here in the Caribbean, but it never develops. And the reason for that is because this vorticity blob blocks anything from in here actually forming. And so you just get a little bit of cross-contamination of 2 tropical cyclones. And then it just doesn't end up forming anything in the Caribbean. But look at that. Talk about a train of vorticity, man. Vorticity, 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 vorticity. If there is not a sign of a more active second peak of tropical activity happening, I mean, I don't know what is, because that is so many just vorticity blobs there. Thankfully, most of them, if not near all of them, go out to sea here. But just the fact that we are seeing a more favorable environment and that these models are actually developing systems. Because if you go back to one of our streams in early September, which we only did like 2 or 3 because it was so inactive, our models were barely showing any signs of tropical development anywhere in the Atlantic Basin, whether it be the Gulf, Caribbean, or the actual main development region into the subtropical Atlantic itself. And now the GFS is showing multiple areas to watch. I do want to go to the European because I have not checked the 12Z. This recently came in. I did not get a chance to look at this. You see Gabrielle there moving across the Bermuda High, going right in between the Bermuda High and the Bermuda, obviously, and Bermuda. Right between Bermuda and the Bermuda High. And then if we pull this out further, you can see your vorticity blob near Cape Verde. And see if it does anything. I have not seen this yet. Oh, what? So it does have your vorticity blob being there, but it like spins it in a circle here and then pushes it towards the Bahamas, and then it gets sucked up by a trough off the coastline of the Carolinas. Wow, what a scenario. That is definitely something right there. Very weird scenario. And you get another vorticity blob that goes off to the northeast, and that just goes out to sea. So our one in Cape Verde right now goes like this, and then goes out to sea. And then another blob that comes off a little bit further south in Africa there goes like this. But neither of them actually become tropical storms on this particular 12Z model run. And then see if there's anything in the Caribbean here. We're looking about 180 hours out. I don't see any... Ooh, I do see a little vorticity there, but it keeps everything south. It keeps everything south at that point. So you don't get anything in the Caribbean. And I'll tell you one big reason why. Let's get this out. This big, huge blocking high pressure right here. Huge high pressure that is going to be blocking this entire area on the European model run here. And I just want to show you how fast this can change. If we go back, oh, look at that. This is yesterday. No, this is this morning's run. This morning's run. No high pressure. And you know what it does because of no high pressure? Watch this. Hold on, I got to switch to it because it didn't switch to it. No high pressure, hurricane in the Gulf. No blocking high, it puts a hurricane right in the Gulf. So, and that actually comes from our vorticity blob in Cape Verde right now. The Euro this morning has that Cape Verde vorticity blob going all the way up to the Bahamas, forming into a tropical storm, and then getting in the Gulf and becoming a major hurricane. And I do want to take a look at the AI European model run. Man, the 12Z is just now rendering in. So we got to go to the... Actually, can we use the 12Z? Oh, we can. Perfect. I haven't seen this. Let's see if this does anything. There's your area of interest. And it does keep a pretty good tropical wave. Look at that. Look at that. A tropical storm at that point north of Puerto Rico. Thankfully, it goes out to sea. And you know what I see? Look at that. This is 230 hours out here. And we start to see a tropical storm form in the Northwest Caribbean. Now, thankfully, you do have a big, huge trough out here that's going to be carrying this out to sea. And it carries it pretty much out to sea. It does hug the coastline of the Carolinas there, though. So on this is your AI run, which has done it very, very, very well this season. That develops Gabrielle into a tropical storm. Doesn't show a hurricane of Gabrielle there. I don't believe that personally. I think Gabrielle will become a hurricane east of Bermuda, maybe even most likely Category 2 there. And then it shows your main AOI from the NHC, keeps that alive, develops it into a tropical storm north of Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Thankfully takes it out to sea. Unfortunately, does get very close to Bermuda there as a probably tropical storm, borderline hurricane. And like I said, it does indeed develop that system in the Caribbean into a tropical storm, borderline hurricane close to South Carolina, North Carolina. So thankfully... Thank goodness we have on this particular run, there's a high pressure over northern Texas and Oklahoma here. Barely, let me go up just a tad there. You've got a big, huge blocking high here. And so that is closing, that is completely protecting the U.S. Let me draw that a little bit better. Draw that a bit better. So you've got this huge high pressure like this. It's actually two high pressures. Two high pressures completely closing the U.S. So that's why this system scrapes by Florida and the Carolinas because of that high pressure. Barely scrapes by the state of North Carolina there. Then you have your big, huge Bermuda high that takes this one out to sea. It's a really good pattern for out to sea storms right there. Really nice pattern for out to sea storms. You have that blocking high here, and then you have that controlling Bermuda high here, and then you even have a trough that's also going to help steer storms out to sea even further. Really, really good blocking pressure, really good blocking pattern, I should say, right there on the AI Euro. And then it does at the end of the run. Now, this is at the very end, okay, so we don't want to take this seriously. This is October 4th. It does have another area to keep an eye on going into the Caribbean, so regardless of what these runs say, even if they showed nothing on this run, I would still say the exact same thing here. Keep an eye on the Caribbean and the Gulf. We're heading into the last week of September. We are going to be heading into October. October is the month where we're most likely to see some sort of tropical storm or hurricane impact the US. That is when your main development region systems shut down. Most frequently, your MDR shuts down in October, and that steering pattern is not as potent. It's more of a blocking pattern that blocks systems from going out to sea. So your actual track in October looks something more like this, because you have more of a blocking pattern that blocks systems from going into the subtropics in the northern Atlantic. And then it's very often, very frequently, you see the North American gyre, which is a mixture of vorticity, very large area of disorganized vorticity that forms in this general vicinity here. And that is what spins up a lot of notable tropical storms and hurricanes in October. I believe Hurricane Michael, which is literally my background. Also, let's see, Helene, Milton. A lot of these big hurricanes that you've heard of have been spun up because of the North American gyre there, which again is just a large area of weak vorticity. So that is something we want to watch very, very, very closely going into the entire month of October. That's very, very common to see something like that in the month of October now. But hopefully we escape it and nothing really forms out of it. It's very easy to where the North American gyre just does absolutely nothing. It's done, we've had it here and there this season and it's done little to nothing. So, as long as we have some wind shear, a bit of dry air, we're going to be fine. We won't see any type of big, huge, major hurricane or anything like that. So hopefully that is the case. Late September 20s. Yeah, we are watching it. Look, I'll show you it right. I didn't say, nobody said it's going to develop. We're just watching it. But we are seeing signals of it here. If I go over to this page above my face cam real quick, I'll put it on the main screen in just a second. I'll just load it up real quick. Put y'all over here. And then do this. This is one of the signals we're keeping an eye on. Let me go way back. This is too far out. This is 228 hours out. And Google AI Ensembles have an area to watch in the Caribbean. So this is going to be September 28th and September 29th. Where there's an area to keep an eye on in the Northwestern Gulf, or the Northwestern Caribbean, my bad. Northwestern Caribbean, Southern Gulf at this point. And like I said in my tweet earlier today, it's something to watch, not something to worry about. Just want to keep an eye on it and be very mindful that the sea surface temperatures are very, very favorable and above average in the Caribbean and the Gulf for this time of year. However, if the upper air pattern doesn't favor tropical development, it doesn't matter what your sea surface temperatures are. They could be historically hot or even a little below average. If the upper air pattern doesn't favor tropical development, you're not going to see tropical development. So really, this signal could mean absolutely nothing by the time we get to the end of September, the last few days of September, because if we have like a blocking high pressure like the Euro AI has over the Gulf, then nothing's going to happen. That high pressure is going to tear it apart, and if it doesn't, it's going to push it into the Yucatan Peninsula, or you could just have some wind shear that completely disrupts it. So a lot's going to change between now and then. But there is an area to watch in the Caribbean on our models, and again, here's your Euro AI. Shows that exact thing happening. Now, thankfully, this is a little bit more east, but unfortunately, it does still develop it. But again, this is 300 hours out, so lots going to change with that. But this has been a very consistent signal. This is the last couple AI runs, and you can see, like the last 6 or so runs, this has really started to appear up on the AI Euro here. both of these systems have really started to appear up. So they're just areas to keep an eye on right now. I don't think either one is a likely tropical storm at this point. It's just keeping an eye on it, right? Keeping an eye on it and waiting to see what our upper air pattern looks like. Now, this is something I haven't looked at. This is the Canadian model run. The Canadian model run has been one of the worst models in terms of performance this year, so wouldn't be shocked if it does absolutely nothing. It does indeed keep our area of interest that's currently located over Cape Verde. It keeps that alive, and it does try to develop it at the very last frame into at least a more organized low pressure. Nothing in the Caribbean, though, which is really, really nice. Nothing in the Caribbean there. We can go to Vorticity to see if we can find anything a bit better. Well, there is a bit of Vorticity there. There is a bit of Vorticity right there on the Canadian model run. And then again, you can see that's this little Vorticity blob there. That's what's currently located southeast of Cape Verde. And then it also does have some areas out in the main development region too. But like I said, as we go into October, those are more likely to head towards the Caribbean. It's more common for these main development region storms to head towards the Caribbean because you just get a bit of a better blocking pattern in the central portion of the Atlantic right up in here. And that favors a more western trajectory with these storms coming off the coastline of Africa. And then also, like I said, you have your North American gyre that tries to spin up systems too, right over in here. Yeah, warm waters don't mean anything if your upper air pattern doesn't develop it or doesn't favor it. But we have a lot of signals here. We'll look at the GFS ensembles here too. Let me go over to... Where is it? Why have I forgotten how to look at ensembles? I've forgotten how to look at ensembles. Is it this? Nope. There we go. There's your 18... Oh, we don't want to do 18Z. That's not rendered in yet. 12Z GFS ensembles. And you can actually see... You can see a little signal right there. A little signal for the Caribbean and the Gulf. Like I said, it's nothing to worry about, but it is a little signal right there. And then you can see a big time light up in the main development region. But thankfully, your high pressure is way up here, so that actually controls a lot of these to just kind of curve up and over like this. If your high pressure actually does form that far to the northeast, but one trough coming off the coastline of the Carolinas or trough coming off the coastline of Canada can change that in a split second on these model runs. Let's see, what about the 0Z from yesterday? Yeah, that just has stuff everywhere. that just says watch the entire basin. That's what that has. Towards the first few days of October. Not really anything too certain on that at all. This is the Euro ensembles. You could see a very small signal in the Caribbean. Nothing like the GFS. Signal off the coastline of Africa there. So that's what we'll be watching. Really watching 3 different areas here. We're watching... Gabrielle, that is moving off to the northeast like this. That is expected to become a Category 2 hurricane Sunday. We're watching our area of interest here in Cape Verde. That's moving off to the northwest in May become an area of interest also towards the Bahamas and the Northern Lesser Antilles. And then we're also keeping an eye in the Caribbean and in the Gulf. So those are your main 4 areas. 4 areas being also one back here too, behind our wave currently in Cape Verde. 4 areas to keep an eye on here. And if we go back over to, not back over this time, actually, if we go to the CPC here, they recently released one of their tropical outlooks for the next 2 weeks here or so. So this is from September 24th through the 30th, and you can see they do have an area of interest northeast of the Lesser Antilles. So they believe that it will be a better, more favorable pattern for an out-to-sea storm as opposed to a system that's a little bit closer to the Lesser Antilles in the Bahamas. And then as we go towards the 1st through the 7th of October, also keeping an eye on what I called the 4th wave, coming off the coastline of Africa, moving in the main development region. Now, they don't have much here in the Caribbean. They have a little area in the Caribbean right here. A little area in the Caribbean, the southwest and the west side of the Caribbean, but it's not really a notable area of interest. It's just there. So the CPC, I definitely agree with what the CPC has. I kind of think they should have had that a little bit more off to the east. Yeah, a little bit more like this for an area of interest, because it's only a 20%. A 20% is definitely not a high chance for development whatsoever. It's a less than 20%. So we'll need to keep a close eye on the CPC update. Their next update will be this upcoming Tuesday. They will be updating this graphic. Pretty sure. I'm quite confident that's when they update it. Let me see. That should be the 23rd, right? Yeah. Yep. I could go check really quick. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday that they update these products. Tropical Hazards Outlook will be updated Tuesday around 1730Z. 1830Z on standard time. Oops. Yeah, so we're not on standard time. That would be 1730Z, which is 1:30 p.m. Tuesday. Hey, I'm not going to complain. I still want everyone to be paying attention in the Caribbean and the Gulf, especially from the last week of September, which we're getting very close to, through the entire month of October. But thank goodness we ain't had anything in the Gulf so far. I mean, we had a tropical storm in the far southwestern Gulf that hit Mexico, but outside of that, we haven't had any other, no major hurricanes, no notable tropical storms, no landfalling tropical storms or anything greater than that hitting the Gulf Coast this year so far. So we're still very much below average on ACE. However, named storm-wise, we are really on track still, named storm-wise. However, we're probably going to be falling below that now. I don't know when our next named storm will be here. We have Gabrielle now. And really, these upcoming systems that we're watching don't look that good right now. There's a chance the one off the coast of Cape Verde uptrends and could become a tropical storm near the Lesser Antilles, northeast of the Lesser Antilles, but I'm not very confident in that scenario. And then our area to watch in the Caribbean and the Gulf, that is such a weak signal right now that it's just something to keep an eye on. And really, I'm 50-50 on that, on if they're even going to mark it. The NHC may not even put an AOI on it if our global models don't really start to uptrend with it. Our main two ensembles, the Euro and the GFS ensembles, really haven't had much of a signal there. Is a very, very weak signal on those two main ensembles. So I feel like until those start to show more signs of development, the NHC probably won't be marking that as an official AOI until that happens. And even when that happens, they still might. They still might not. So we'll see. But like I said, 4 areas to watch. Again, if you weren't here just a moment ago, we're watching that Gabrielle, soon to become a hurricane, and then likely a Category 2 hurricane moving out to sea. Watching an area of interest off the coastline of Africa, southeast of Cape Verde, that's going to be moving off to the northwest, and probably will be turning out to sea It's kind of split between our ensemble. Some take it close to Puerto Rico, others take it directly out to sea, like Gabrielle. Then we're watching a small signal in the Caribbean and the Gulf out over in here. And then our last wave to watch, so that's 1, 2, 3. Our fourth wave is another wave that's going to come off the coastline of Africa, probably in the first week of October. We're very, very far from that. Like, we're talking 300 hours out before that happens. All right, the last thing I do want to mention, dedicate the last bit of time we have here on this briefing left to the typhoon there in the Western Pacific. Before I do that, though, just very quickly want to show you the Eastern Pacific. So that's the area of interest we're watching. 70% chance of development over in this area, and it's likely going to be heading out to sea as a tropical storm. Could become a hurricane, but most of our guidance suggests a tropical storm right now. We'll see how the environment looks towards the first few days next week. The best chance of development of this system will definitely be going towards Tuesday and Wednesday next week. So not too far out, about 4 or 5 days from now. All right, but I do want to go all the way to the opposite side of the globe here, all the way to the Western Pacific for this current tropical storm, soon to become violent typhoon. Currently located in this general vicinity here, moving off to the northwest. And it's likely going to be much closer to the Philippines than it will be Taiwan. But you can see all of these ensembles are suggesting a major hurricane, every last one. And I do want to go over to a zoomed out view of this soon to be, like I said, violent typhoon with a hurricane model one. This is the HAFSA. And that shows a super typhoon, 131 knot typhoon there, just between Taiwan and the Philippines. So we will we'll likely be live. We will be live to talk about this system. We'll be live Sunday, this time Sunday. This is about 6 o'clock Sunday. We'll be live at 6 o'clock Sunday, and we'll be talking about this typhoon at that time. And then we'll also be live. I don't know about tomorrow. I'm 50-50 on tomorrow, but I will be live Sunday. I will definitely be live. I can guarantee we will be live Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, to talk about this typhoon and also go over the tropics as well. And this model really, this hurricane model doesn't weaken it really too much as it crosses west of the Philippines and southwest of Taiwan. It actually keeps its strength. I know a lot of our global models weakened it at that point. If we take this out, you can see how a few of these ensembles, a few of them turn it into orange and red as opposed to pink. But very strong signal from here to here for this thing to become a violent typhoon with sustained winds, likely between 135 to 145 miles per hour in between those two markers. And it definitely could get super typhoon status, which I think, I don't track them enough, but I'll just look it up. I'm pretty sure a super typhoon is 150 miles per hour. I want to say it's 150 miles per hour. Yeah, I think so. Upper tier Cat 4 or Cat 5. That's a super typhoon. So this definitely could get to super typhoon status. Another scenario is where our eye is much larger, like the H-Wharf has. The H-Wharf has, this is a completely different system. The H-Wharf has a much larger eye, so it intensifies a lot slower. But even then, it still gets to probably Category 3 status. But I don't think this will be the case. I think it will be substantially stronger than this. I doubt our eye is going to be that large with this typhoon. I'm not really listening to that. So, yeah, there you go. That is it for your tropical update. So, I will catch you guys Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And maybe a video, maybe a live stream, maybe nothing tomorrow. Just see how I feel. I may or may not do something. We'll just see. But I appreciate all you guys for tuning in here. Yes, I definitely would have tracked. I forgot how you pronounce that, Tornadic Rebel. But yes, I definitely would have tracked it. Last year we tracked a lot of typhoons in the Western Pacific. And we tracked one this year. If not, maybe even more than that. But we haven't done any coverage on them. I remember covering a typhoon in the Philippines, in South Korea, and Japan, and Taiwan over the last 2 years. But I don't think we've covered, and by covered, I mean covered like a landfall or near landfall by a typhoon yet this year. I might count Sunday as coverage because it's going to be Sunday into Monday morning when that makes landfall. If it does make landfall, which who knows, maybe it could thread the needle between some of these islands, it will likely end up being early Monday morning Eastern time. So, yeah, like I said, that's it for me. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, share this stream with your family, friends, social media. Consider hitting that subscribe button with a notification bell set to all so you know when I go live or upload another video. And I will be live Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Hi, Sam. Bye, Sam. 6 p.m. Eastern time, Sunday is the next scheduled live stream. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. Could be nothing, could be a video, could be a live stream. Like I said, I'll just see how I feel. So I'll see y'all Sunday at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. rather, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Friday night. Go have some fun, enjoy the weekend, and stay safe out there. So, yeah, again, thank you, mods, for modding chat. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hi, Sam, once again. Bye, Sam. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe. Watch the tropics. See y'all Sunday. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch for your weather in the tropics, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a great rest of your Friday night. Goodbye.